How is it going, guys? We're doing something a little bit different today. As you can probably already tell, we are not in the WRX or the GR86, and that's because I decided to borrow a friend's GR Corolla. You see, ever since this car was announced, it genuinely piqued my interest, just like it did with a lot of other people, especially those paying attention to the GR Yaris available overseas. I've always been a sucker for a hot hatch, and ever since Subaru stopped making hatchbacks, there's always been this kind of void that needed to be filled. I actually had a deposit down for one of these a while back, but after waiting over a year and a half with no update, I kind of just gave up and got my money back. But that being said, this car has still been in the back of my mind. So for the past few days, I've been driving it around to try and figure out whether or not I actually want one, and if it's worth going through the process of trying to find one at a reasonable price that's not ridiculously marked up. So let's take this thing back to the shop and talk more about it. Now, this particular GR Corolla is a 2023 core model, which is essentially what you would refer to as a base model. I think things have changed a little bit for the 24s, but the important thing about this car is that it has the performance package along with the rest of the packages that were available for the 2023 cars. The performance package gives you the Torsen LSDs and the GR Big Brake Kit. I don't know why you would want to get one of these without the performance package. It just doesn't make sense to me. I honestly feel like these cars should have just come standard with the performance package. These are powered by the same 1.6 liter turbocharged 3-cylinder engines out of the GR Yaris, but with a few upgrades. They make 300 horsepower and 273 pound-feet of torque, and they weigh in at just over 3,250 pounds, depending on the different options. Pretty impressive numbers for a small 3-cylinder engine. Now, I know there have been tons of people that have made videos on this car going through the different specs. That's not what I'm here to do today. What I'm trying to do is to figure out, as a consumer, if this car is worth purchasing for myself compared to other cars available on the market. So let me show you guys what my thoughts are having driven this car around for the past few days. I'm gonna talk about what I like about it and what I dislike about it. The first thing we'll talk about is how it looks. Of course, this being a GR model, it's much more aggressive in appearance compared to the normal Corolla. In the front, we have this big open grille to help increase airflow and keep the turbo and engine cool. There's also vents on the outer side of the front bumper, and the front fenders are vented as well. Moving to the rear of the car, we have wide hips added since this car does have a wider track width. And then we've got that rear bumper that is completely redesigned and has 3 different exhaust tips. I will say this is definitely a unique look that takes some getting used to. The center exit is supposed to open up at a certain RPM to help decrease back pressure, so I'm sure there's a lot of engineering that went into it, but it is definitely different. Now, that being said, I do very much enjoy how this car looks. Like I said, I love a good hot hatch. And if you compare this to, say, an older WRX hatchback, it's quite similar in terms of proportions, but a bit more sharp and modern. And even though they use a decent amount of exposed black plastic in the rear of the car, I think they did a better job incorporating it compared to what Subaru did on the WRX. I also think Toyota did really well on the redesign of both the headlights and the taillights from the regular Corolla. They incorporated this popular boomerang or C-light DRL design that you see in a lot of aftermarket lights. And of course, most modern day cars come with LED projectors now, so these are super bright. I think one thing that would have been cool to see is some sort of sequential turn signal, but at least you do get a switchback turn signal in that boomerang instead of just a regular flashing turn signal bulb. I'm sure there's companies out there already working on sequential turn signals for the headlights and the taillights anyway. There is one thing on the exterior of this car that drives me absolutely nuts, and it's this little strake or accent on the rear bumper that looks like an accident. I'm sure they had to put it there for some sort of regulation, but to me it looks very odd and looks like an afterthought. The GR86 has something similar, but at least on that car it's a lot more prominent instead of just a 2-inch section that sticks out a couple millimeters. Let's talk about the interior. This is where you're gonna be spending most of the time with the car. So it's one of the most important things. If you're not comfortable inside the car, you're probably not going to like it. Now the core model comes with these mesh fabric seats that I'm not the biggest fan of, not because of the overall design. That's actually quite nice. It has adequate bolstering and holds you in well, but it's more the material. To me, it feels and looks bland and sort of cheap. And I get that this is the base model, but it's also the GR model, which makes me want to opt for the premium trim that gives you the Alcantara and leather seats instead. One thing I will say though is that the interior of this car still feels very much like a Corolla interior. There's nothing spectacular or out of this world. But we got to keep in mind also that this is not a luxury car, it's a compact sports car, so most of the R&D went into the performance side of things and not on the interior, which makes sense. But that being said, one thing I do really enjoy about the inside of this car is the fully digital gauge cluster. I wish they would have done this on the GR86. They sort of did, but they encased it in the flat boxer engine design, which takes up a lot of space that could have been utilized for the actual gauge cluster display. Also, this car has an oil pressure gauge. Where is that on the GR86 and BRZ? We do get Toyota's Safety Sense 3.0, which gives you the adaptive cruise control, lane assist, and collision detection technology, along with the blind spot monitoring and all that jazz. I know some people aren't big fans of all that stuff, but on a daily driver, I can say it is useful and it works very well. Another feature that some people might not be in love with until you actually use it is the IMT, which is the intelligent manual transmission with rev matching. Of course, nothing is going to beat that feeling of the perfect heel toe downshift, but the convenience and quickness of the auto rev match, especially when you are doing some spirited driving or out on the track, is a huge upgrade. And it's one of those things that just wins you over when you actually use it. And if it doesn't, you do have the option of turning it on and off depending on your preference. Speaking of convenience, let's hop in the back seat and talk about the convenience factor of this car. Unlike the GR86, it actually has rear seats that are useful and can fit a full-size adult, albeit it is still a tight fit. If the person sitting in the front seat were to scoot their seat any further back, my knees would probably start complaining. For reference, I'm 6 feet tall. I still have plenty of headspace. There's still a little bit of room in front of my knees and my feet fit underneath the front seat. So I still am very much comfortable, a lot more comfortable than I would be on, say, a plane seat. We can also fold the back of the seats all the way down to make full use of the space in the hatch. And there's also some storage underneath the floor that we can utilize as well. So overall, this car checks all the boxes in terms of convenience. Now, last but not least, let's talk about the overall driving experience. The peppy turbocharged 3-cylinder engine puts the power down to all 4 wheels, utilizing Toyota's GR4 all-wheel drive system that actually allows you to change the torque distribution using this dial here in the center console. So you can go from a 60-40 front to rear to a 50-50 or a 30-70 depending on what you're doing. The gearbox itself feels very tactile and precise through each of the gear shifts, and it's a very pleasant driving experience. Same thing with the steering, you feel very connected. The car is agile and nimble, and it handles really well for a car that weighs over 3,200 pounds. Of course, it doesn't handle quite like the GR86, but I think a lot of people would be surprised at what this car could do out on the track with the right modifications. Graham over at Boosted Performance Tuning actually has a GR Corolla as one of his dedicated track cars, and he's been praising it since the get-go, which makes me even more eager to get one. Now, I think the GR Corolla and the GR86 pair up almost perfectly together. I don't know where that leaves me with the WRX. I haven't decided if the GR Corolla is the right purchase for me, but I'm curious to hear what you guys think. What do you guys think on the GR Corolla? Have you had experience with it? Do you currently own one? And if I were to get one, what would you like to see done to it? Do you want to see a full track car, or do you want to see a relatable daily driver, or something that can do everything? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below. But that is going to do it for today, guys. I need to get this car back to its owner. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the content. If you are, make sure to hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.